Hey, what's up, folks? This is John Literal, host of LiteralTruth.com and Literal Truth Biblical Studies. I was on social media a little earlier on Facebook, and I participate in a number of different groups, and whether it's religious or just really things that I'm interested in. I love to have discussions and share different ideas and stuff. And somebody had posted this picture. It looks like it's taken from a book, and it's of this Egyptian, the story of an Egyptian creator god called Khnum. And what it says the mythological story of the creation of man, recorded in Genesis, was taken from the original Egyptian story of the creator god Khnum, who formed man and his Ka on a potter's wheel. And this is something that I've heard many times over from skeptics, and it is legitimate. It's something that definitely needs to be taken in consideration because teachings within Christianity and in the Bible there are a lot of similarities. Some are more similar than others. Some are strikingly similar. But they're similar to, the stories of the Bible and doctrines and stuff in Christianity are very similar to, things from other religions. And most especially when you start connecting, the religious beliefs of the ancient Egyptians and also in, the mythology of ancient Sumeria. We find the flood stories very popular in all kinds of different cultures and different religions. So, one of the things that people come to the conclusion with is that, these older beliefs, excuse me, these older doctrines and stuff are the original idea. And then religions and beliefs and stuff like that that come afterwards that have similar things, it's believed that those are copied from the older beliefs. And that does make sense, and that in some cases I'm sure that is true, but I don't think that that's an absolute. I think there's definitely a lot of exceptions to that rule. And this brings me to, I remember reading years ago when I was reading the writings of John Henry Newman, who was a great apologist. He ended up becoming a cardinal of the Catholic Church. But he wrote a lot of things even before he converted to the Catholic Church, a lot of apologetic works. And he makes a really good point. And before I read it, I'll just kind of sum it up what he said. He talked about how, the seeds of truth, God has spread the seeds of truth to and fro, throughout history, throughout ancient civilizations, even to modern civilizations. There's true beliefs and just true things that these concepts that have been spread like seed and it's taken root in various places. So, his argument is that Christianity, he believed, was based on truth. And some of those Christian truths you can find in belief systems and mythologies from way more ancient times. It doesn't mean that Christianity copied from it, but it means those truths have been uh, spread, and people have come to those concepts. And it's probably people that were very spiritual, and that's one of the things that I actually, when I gave an answer, a reply to this post. I'm sorry, folks, with got a little bit of a congestion here. Um, here was my response to that. I said, perhaps they are two independent stories about the same thing. Perhaps God spread the seeds of truth to and fro to many people in different periods of time. There are examples of ancient cultures from the Americas having almost identical details of their mythology that resembles ancient Egyptian and Sumerian mythology. I think that all deeply spiritual people tap into the same divine truths and same demonic lies from time to time. And I truly believe that. I truly believe that regardless of what a person's religion is, if you have somebody that's seeking truth and willing to follow it wherever it leads, people that have never even heard the gospel, or even times before the gospel actually was established 2,000 years ago by Jesus, I believe that people tap into divine truths when they are truly seeking it. And on the other hand, I do believe that people that are seeking truth, you can have demonic truth as well. You could have teachings from demons, and so that if you have somebody that's into occultism, dark occultism, and they start tapping into demonic knowledge, you can have somebody from the very ancient times, all the way back to ancient Sumer or ancient Babylon or ancient Egypt. If they're tapping into demonic knowledge and stuff, then somebody even today can have no knowledge of those teachings from those ancient demonic cults, and they can discover those demonic truths and knowledge on their own. So, I truly do believe that it's just a matter of being able to tap into the spirituality. And it's not a matter of, people copying from ideas and concepts from earlier times. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read this really good explanation by John Henry Newman. And I think he really sums it up real well. And what he's actually he's giving an answer to some of the accusations that were made by somebody he refers to as Mr. Millman, Millman. So here we go. I'm going to start with it. It says, the phenomenon admitted on all hands is this: that great portion of what is generally received as Christian truth is, in its rudiments or in its separate parts, to be found in heathen philosophies and religions. For instance, the doctrine of a Trinity is found both in the East and the West. So is the ceremony of washing. So is the rite of sacrifice. The doctrine of divine word is Platonic. The doctrine of the incarnation is Indian. Of a divine kingdom is Judaic. Of angels and demons is Magian. The connection of sin with the body is Gnostic. Celibacy is known to bonds and Talapoin. A sacerdotal order is Egyptian. The idea of a new birth is Chinese and Eleusinian. Belief in sacramental virtue is Pythagorean. And honors to the dead are polytheism. Such is the general nature of the fact before us. Mr. Millman argues from it. He says these things are heathenism, therefore they are not Christian. We, on the other hand, prefer to say these things are in Christianity, therefore they are not heathen. That is, we prefer to say, and we think that Scripture bears us out in saying, that from the beginning the moral governor of the world has scattered the seeds of truth far and wide over its extent, that these have variously taken root and grown as in the wilderness, wild plants indeed, but living, and therefore that as the inferior animals have tokens of an immaterial principle in them, yet have not souls, so the philosophies and religions of men have their life in certain true ideas. Through they are not directly divine. What man is amid the brute creation, such is the church among the schools of the world. And as Adam gave names to the animals about him, so has the church from the first looked around upon the earth, nothing, noting and visiting the doctrines she found there. She began in Chaldea, and then sojourned among the Canaanites, and went down into Egypt, and therefore passed into Arabia until she rested in her own land. Next she encountered the merchants of Tyre, and the wisdom of the east country, and the luxury of Sheba. Then she was carried away to Babylon, and wandered to the schools of Greece. And wherever she went, in trouble or in triumph, she still was a living spirit, the mind and the voice of the Most High, sitting in the midst of the doctors, both hearing them and asking them questions, claiming to herself what they said rightly, connecting their errors, supplying their defects, completing their beginnings, expanding their surmises, and thus gradually by means of them enlarging the range and refining the sense of her own teaching. So far from them, from her creed being of doubtful credit because it resembles foreign theologies, we even hold that one special way in which Providence has imparted divine knowledge to us has been by enabling her to draw and collect it together out of the world, in this sense as in others, to suck the milk of the Gentiles and to suck the breast of the kings. So there we go. I've always that always stuck in my mind because it can be troubling, and that is a scientific concept to that when there's any type of philosophy or religious belief and it resembles something from an earlier time, it is legitimate to assume that it was copied. But, as I explained a little earlier, I truly believe that people who are spiritual, you can have light spiritualism, that seeks the light of truth. And you can have dark spiritualism, people who seek the dark side of spirituality. And they can tap into that. And it doesn't matter at what point in time they are in history, that they can receive that sort of by, divine revelation. And it doesn't mean that they learned about it by reading a book or whatever, or learned it from some, secret society that preserves some of this ancient knowledge. But, they can receive it in another way individually. And so, that's an argument that I think is worth making. That's always something to take in consideration when you're coming up with your own perspective, coming to your own conclusion. I think we have to really take in consideration and be open to all sorts of different ways of looking at it. So, folks, I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. I appreciate everyone. Take care. Have a good day.